Today on the show, it's issue number 5 on our Batman Eternal weekly recap. So this week's issue straight away starts out with Tim Drake giving us a context of time frame. He basically says that Professor Pig's attack and the train crash happened 3 nights ago. It's also worth noting that we're not in the Batcave, we're actually in Red Robin's nest. Now a Red Robin's nest is essentially a Batcave, but just for Tim Drake and Alfred. However, I do love that Alfred totally calls Tim out on the Red Robin's nests because Bruce does not approve of them, and Tim is basically like, yeah, I don't care. Anyway, it turns out that all the kids that were attacked by Professor Pig were from the same building, and they were all acting sick before Professor Pig attacked them, meaning they were already infected. Then we go to the Narrows, where all the kids were from, and who should live there but Harper Row and her brother. Then we go to the Gotham Gazette, and Vicky Vale, the person who originally published the Jim Gordon story in issue number 2, is still working on Jim Gordon stories. Now a lot of you might be like, why is Vicky Vale important? Well, Vicky Vale is actually a common character to Bat Family titles. She first appeared in the 1940s and was originally modelled after Marilyn Monroe, so she's a really impressive character that has a long history. But anyway, the Gazette is equally corrupt as the police force because Vicky Vale was not told about the gang wars, and then Warren Spacey comes along and tells Vicky about the gang wars, so she goes to the Narrows. Then we go back to the Narrows, and Tim Drake is scanning a kid to figure out what's wrong with him, and Batman turns up and is like, we should be working together. I really like this because it implies that Batman needs a Robin and he knows it, and we really haven't seen that of late, so it's nice to just be reminded of it. Also, at the end of Teen Titans in Teen Titans Annual number 3, Tim Drake and Bruce are seen working together, and Tim says, "It's good to be back, Bruce." Anyway, it turns out that the kids are infected with a swarm of nanobots, more advanced than anything that has been seen before, yet not exactly alien. Anyway, Bruce says that he has to go off into the city to deal with the gang war, but then Tim says to Bruce, nothing's the same anymore. Not since the Joker, not since Damian, and now Dick too. There's something broken under the surface, Batman. And I really like that. Tim was always the Robin that was closest to Bruce in the old universe. Even when Damian came along, there was no replacing Tim. So it's really nice to see that Tim can still identify Bruce's emotions. Then Vicky turns up at the Narrows and begins to try to interview some of the gangs there, but then Harper comes along and saves Vicky and the intern from being killed and is like, you two idiots come with me. Then we go back to Tim and the nanobots have activated and have started to attack him. Elsewhere in the same building, Harper is taking Vicky and the intern into her home to be safe. Can I just say that Cullen used to be a coolish looking character, like he definitely had his own design and identity, and now he's beginning to look a little bit like that guy that played Edward Cullen in those Twilight movies. I don't know, I've got no real opinions on the Twilight movies because I never saw them, but I'm not exactly happy about, oh, he's called Cullen, let's make him look like Edward Cullen. Harper basically explains that the people that are rioting and killing in the names of Falcone and Penguin have never actually met Falcone or Penguin. They're just doing this for the sake of violence. Anyway, the gang then turns up at Harper's home, but then at that same moment, a bunch of nanobots and Tim crash through the ceiling attacking one another, and then Tim is able to program them to go to sleep. However, just as they are all going to sleep, they go inside of Cullen and put him to sleep as well. Harper rushes over to Cullen and turns around to Tim and is all like, did you do this? And Tim is all like, no, but I'm calling for help. In my personal opinion, I think Cullen should be taken to a Red Robin's nest and Alfred should see to him, as opposed to being taken to a hospital. Because a hospital is not going to be equipped to see to nanobots. Vicky then takes a taser and begins to question one of the gang members, and a few days later the Gotham Gazette publish a story called Gang War Erupts in Gotham City. Then we go to Tokyo, where we see the guy from Batman issue number 22, who turns out to have invented the nanobots, but he did not intend for them to be activated so soon, and we have no idea if he's a good guy or a bad guy. For all of you that didn't read Batman issue number 22, this is the same guy that trained Bruce Wayne, Batman, in technology. I really like this issue. I really didn't say anything individual about the art other than that one frame of Cullen because I really liked it all. The main thing that I liked about this issue was that Batman was hardly in it. When they said Batman Eternal was going to be about the Batman family, I was kind of expecting not to see Batman at all, and I was a little bit disappointed when it was very Batman-centric for the first 4 issues. Then we have this issue, which is essentially about Tim Drake, Alfred, and Harper Row, and I absolutely love that because they are very interesting characters and need their time in the spotlight. Also, on the Tim Drake front, if they keep writing him as well as they are writing him, I think we could see a Red Robin series in the near future. Maybe they could have a person that's really passionate about Tim Drake and has spent about 7 years identifying Tim Drake and using him as a model to improve themselves, so they really know the character very well and would have a very easy time writing them and would be able to stick to deadlines and would get everything done on time. I don't know where they would find a person like that, but I know they're probably very, very close and they probably have red and blue hair. Also briefs.
It's super effective!
Okay guys, that is it for today. What was your opinion on Batman Eternal issue number 5? Please let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more recaps, and also don't forget to support the show and check out my Patreon, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and check out my gaming channel. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.